Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So we're getting back into decoding REM Losing My Religion. Um, uh, we got a variance percent already to the point of, or to the tune to 2.1%, which is an interesting number. Um, and we got this to go through the stock market already, finance. We got it to go through genetics, medical, chemical, artificial intelligence, and laboratories. And now we're on research groups. So um, our extractions are um, said, if I can get this where it can be seen, said enough changed to set it up, and that happened twice. So if you cross off the S because it's still in set it up, you cross off the I because it's still in set it up, cross off the E because it's still in set it up, cross off this U because it's still in set it up. You're left with A, D, N, O, G, H, T, T, P, and you bring A, D, N, O, G, H, T, T, P down, and that happened twice, so that goes in twice. Once you get to the overlap, you can move on because then it's already done in this case. So we're on research groups, and we're going to start going forward. We're going to take the first three letters, ADN. And ADN ends up being RLUK ADN Research Libraries, and that's in the UK. Associate Directors Network. I believe that's what I wrote there. So you got our research libraries, and you've also got ADN is multiple groups because the computer would flip these around in these letters around in multiple ways, and we don't do that because we'd be here forever. But I thought it was worthy of note that there's also DNA, and there's multiple research groups on DNA. And I believe I saved that link, so you can go look at them all. If you move on from that, you got DN, which ends up being Developmental Neurobiology Group. Oh, yes, the disclaimers. Now, there's going to be cerveza bug information, cerveza bug information on several of these, and I'm going to disclaimer it once. So, read at your own discretion, not mine, not anybody else's. If you move on from that, you have NOG, which ends up being Netherlands Research School of Gender Studies. Yeah, research and staff. So why they need an entire school for gender studies is beyond me. I think we learned that in like 5 minutes in the fifth grade. Some people aren't smarter than a fifth grader. Remember that old show? Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Well, no. Apparently, some people are not. Because you need a whole school to learn what we learned in about 5 minutes. So I don't understand that one, but there it is. You also have Northern Oil and Gas, Investment Research. That's NOG as well. And NOG is also BWXT Nuclear Operations Group. So, Nuclear Operations Group, they do research in nuclear operations. So, if you move on from that, you have DNO, which ends up being DNO Berlin Neuroscience Community with about 100 internationally recognized research groups. So that's about 100 research groups going on there. You also have DNO Frankfurt, International Interdisciplinary Research Center. So I'm sure you got a bunch of research groups going on there. If you move on from that, you have OG, which ends up being OG Research. And also OG is OG Lab, Organic Geochemistry Lab. And they consist of 3 research groups. So there's 3 there. If you move on from that, you have GH, which ends up being Growth Hormone Research Society. You also have GH Frederickson, RG Research Group, GH Frederickson Research Group, Glenn Frederickson Research Group, Field Theoretic Computer Simulation Methods for Polymers and Complex Fluids, among other things that they research. You move on from that, you got TTP, which ends up being TTP Study Group, and that's that thrombotic purpura. We had that before. It's been a long time since I've tried to pronounce it, but that's a research group, a study group that researches that particular issue. You move on from that, you have PAD, and PAD ends up being Professional and Academic Discourse, PAD Research Group, University of Warwick. So once they hit that, they should be able to hit anything at the University of Warwick. You also have PAD is a Peripheral Artery Disease, PAD Study. So you got that as well. And you got PA then, which is PA Focus Group, which is a Pennsylvania focus group. And that gets you through going forwards, and now you're coming backwards through these, because as soon as you hit the overlap, you can start coming back, right? So we've hit the overlap, and now we're coming back. You got PTT, which ends up being PTT Research Crunchbase Company. We've had those before. PTT is also PTT Global Chemical Public Company Research Team. So Global Chemical Company and a research team. If you move on from that, you have HG, which is Hypermesis Gradium HG Research Team. All right, if you move on from that, you have GON, which is Optics and Nanoscopy Group, Research Group, and they deal with physics. And if you move on from that, you have ND, which ends up being Research Groups at Notre Dame Department of Physics, which is pretty interesting. You also have my favorite, North Dakota, Research Division at the University of North Dakota. And we've gone ahead and highlighted them because they've come up every time in every category, and they're our suspect right now for the quantum network user in this case. If you move on from that, you get DAP, which ends up being DAP Early Detection Research Network, and that is Death Associated Protein. Not so sure what I think of that. But if you move on from that, you have APT, which ends up being APT Research Incorporated, Analysis, Planning, Test Research. And APT is also Research Groups, APT, Advanced Processor Technologies. So you got Advanced Processor Technology Research Groups. If you move on from that, you have PT, Academy of Physical Therapy Research, and that's come up before. And PT is also PT Research Incorporated, and they do people research. As I recall it was from jobs, like if some company wanted to research who they were hiring, but nonetheless, they research people. And that gets us through going forwards and backwards in research groups. And I think technology may be next. I'll have to go back and look at the categories again. We did add artificial intelligence, so I could be off, and I've put some in other orders. just so I don't forget finance, I put it after the stock market, right? So um, that gets you through forwards and backwards. And once again, I think it's worthy to say that somebody could argue why this stuff is in all these, but you can't argue that it's there. And we don't think it's a coincidence. My fiance doesn't think it's a coincidence that all this stuff is in all these. These go through all these categories. I don't think it's a coincidence, but there could be a coincidence theorist out there that says it is, and that's fine. We don't think so. So again, you could argue why this stuff is in there. You can't argue that it's in there, and it does make a pattern. And right now we're looking at North Dakota University. So we'll see if that proves to be correct when we get to the gematria of it. Because once again, the theory being that these quantum computers are in a gematria algorithm, because if they were made by the Freemasons or any of those groups that use gematria, then it's going to run that algorithm simple. So that gets us through research groups, and that's going to be it for this video. And I think it's technology next, but I'll have to look, so don't hold me to it. So, and we're getting close to being through the letters, and we'll have to convert that into numbers and go again. So, for now, guys, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down when appropriate. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. And thanks for watching, guys. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your afternoon.